It's Luke. I got your Advent devotion for the week. This week in church we were talking about Isaiah chapter 11, verses 1 through 10. Chad did a great job preaching on it, so I'm not going to spend too much time breaking it down, but there are kind of two halves of this passage. The first half, which was talking about Jesus coming, what it was going to look like when he got here and who he was. And then the second half was talking about what it looks like in the future, end of times in heaven, the peace that Jesus brought that had crazy, radical things happening, like lions being near sheep, leopards coming down and being near babies, that type of stuff, that imagery of you can put an infant near a viper's nest and it will be okay. And this is a picture, I believe, of what peace will look like when Jesus reigns over the earth like he does now in heaven. But I was struck by things we've talked about in the past, things David has talked about in the past, kind of this picture of what it looks like for us to bring the kingdom of heaven as believers down here on earth. It's something we can do now. It's not just something that's going to happen at the end of the times. It won't happen with everybody because not everybody's a believer, but for those of us that are believers, this picture of peace is something we can promote and something we can work towards. I got a quick story for you that I probably shouldn't share because I think my family would be mad about it, but it's okay. Just don't tell them. A couple years ago now, I think 5 years ago, me and my sister and my parents were flying to Michigan for Christmas. And me and my siblings fly a lot growing up, but we're like adults now, so most of the time we do not anymore. And we were like really excited. We're going to Michigan, we're visiting family, it's going to be a good time. So we're in the airport, joking around, having fun, then we're on the plane, sitting there, just excited to be on this holiday trip. However, there's a family next to us that's a bit of like in disarray. It was like two young kids, like 4, 6, a girl and a boy, two parents. And they're kind of freaking out because the dad had left a phone at security. And they're like, what are we going to do? We don't know what to do. And all of a sudden, the flight attendant was like, oh, we found a phone at security. But unfortunately, they're not allowed to bring electronics through or something like that. I don't begin to know or understand the TSA, but he was going to have to go back to security to get it. They didn't want to do that. At the same time, the flight had been overbooked, like they do, great planning, and there was too many people there for the amount of seats on the flight, and so they were offering money, like they do, to get off the flight. And it was like Christmas, day before Christmas Eve, I think, and so they were starting to get more, $500, $600, $700, I think in Delta flight money to get off and wait 6 hours for the next flight. And the flight attendant basically was like, sir, if you're going to get this phone and you're not going to have time to get back, that's all right though. We'll give you these $600 to wait for the next flight. And while this is happening, the family starts to kind of go into chaos. The kids started crying. The mom's freaking out. The dad is like getting up and being like, I'm going to go get that phone and that $600. When all of a sudden my dad decides this would be a good time to lean across the aisle and say, well, at least you're getting the $600, which was unhelpful. Nobody felt better about that. But then something crazier happened, and I say it's crazy because that is kind of like my dad. This is not like my mom. My mom leaned over the aisle and said, the holidays are tough for everybody. It's okay. The holidays are tough for everybody, which in that moment was unhelpful. Because here's this family, these kids are crying, whatever, it's a mess. And they're like struggling, they gotta figure out this fight. It's a mess. Whereas this family with adult children and two parents laughing, taking their in-flight sodas and cheers, like stupid stuff like that, having a good time, is like, no, things are difficult for everybody. It's fine. My mom was embarrassed of that story now, that's why I said don't tell her. But I think it gives like a good picture of how the holidays are like a mess. Like this is a time of our lives that can be stressful, that can be anxious, not unlike the rest of the year. But I think that increased family time, increased school stress for students, stuff like that makes this a particularly fraught time. I can think of a lot of holidays that I caused some trouble at. And I was just thinking, and I've kind of been challenging the 4th and 5th graders and talking with the 8th grade small group boys about this that this, as believers in God, as people who are actively trying to follow Jesus Christ, this can be a time, the holiday season, can be a time for us to challenge ourselves to promote peace more actively than we do maybe during the regular year, or maybe during times that we're not focused on. And I think the holidays are a big picture, and it's a big picture of compromise, and everybody wants to do their own thing and have their own ways, and so it's a sacrifice to promote peace. It's a sacrifice to say, that's all right, I'll get over it. That's all right. I know that you're saying these things to me not because you dislike me as a person, but because this is a stressful time and you don't know what to do. I feel like hopefully that family thought that about mine, because they're like, I know this is a difficult situation and you guys weren't trying to make it worse. But I just think with this picture of these animals who should not be together in any circumstances under Jesus' rule, living in peace, it's a challenge for us as Christians to promote peace in our daily lives. And I think that this time being a time when everybody, non-Christians included, are focused on the Christmas season, even though for them it may be not centered around Jesus. For us it is. But even though there are non-believers, it is a time when people have Jesus on the brain. They know what Christmas means, even if they don't celebrate it. And so I think we have an opportunity to spread the word of the Lord with people in a more efficable, effective way than we normally do. And I think a foot in the door to making that happen is sharing peace with other people. And so I just want to encourage you and challenge you that in this time it can be very small ways of like not caring that somebody said happy holidays at Starbucks instead of Merry Christmas. To big ways, like when we're dealing with family, especially maybe family that doesn't believe in God, kind of swallowing our pride and swallowing the things we'd like to say in order to say the things that we should and promote the peace that we can. Because this picture of peace that Jesus brings is something we can have here on earth too. I hope I did not embarrass my family too much. I feel like his parents sound rough. They're great. But I just want to really encourage you guys that peace is possible in this time, even though it seems difficult.